He goes out up there in the upper echelons first of the angelic realm, and he merchandises and traffics this plan that he has, that he will be like who? The Most High. Now, I want you to look at a few things here. The definition, merchandise. What's the definition? Number one, the objects of commerce. Wares, goods, commodities. Whatever is usually bought or sold in trade. But provisions daily sold in the market, horses, cattle, and fuel, are not usually included in the term. In real estate, never. The second definition is trade, traffic, or commerce. If you look up the definition of the word traffic, what does traffic mean? Traffic means trade, commerce, either by barter or by buying and selling. The word, like trade, comprehends every species of dealing in the exchange or passing of goods or merchandise from one hand to another for an equivalent, unless the business of retailing may be expected. It signifies appropriately foreign trade, but it is also not limited to that. So what does it mean to merchandise something? Sell it. What does it mean to traffic something? To sell it. What does Lucifer do? He goes out in amongst the heavenly hosts, and he sells, he merchandises and traffics this plan that is laid out for you there in Isaiah 14 that will ultimately make him like who? The Most High. You see these words. Look at Ezekiel 26. Look at verse 12. Ezekiel 26:12. This is talking here about the judgment, the coming judgment upon the city of Tyre. Okay? Notice what it says in verse 12. They shall make a spoil of thy riches, and make a prey of thy what? Merchandise. And they shall break down thy walls and destroy thy pleasant homes, and they shall lay thy stones and thy timber and thy dust in the midst of the water. He's talking about the ultimate and utter destruction of the city of Tyre, including their economic system. When he says there in verse 12 that he's going to make a prey of their what? Merchandise. Come with me to Ezekiel 28. Look at verse 5. Ezekiel 28, verse 5. By thy great wisdom, notice, and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy what? It is very clear that in the Bible, when you see the word traffic or the word merchandise used, it is referring to going out and selling something, merchandising something, promoting something. Lucifer goes out. He's got his plan, he's got it all set, and he goes out up there into the heavenly realms. And I would say, listen, if I'm going to do this, do I want the little bitty peon angels first, or do I want the big dads? I want the big ones, right? I want the high ones. I want the chief princes. I want as many as the upper echelon angels as I can get to follow me. And he goes out there and he actively traffics and merchandises this plan. Now, come with me to Revelation chapter 12. So he markets his plan amongst the heavenly hosts. And he is successful. Revelation chapter 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. Notice, and his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven and what? Cast them to the earth. Go down to verse 7. There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. Now, clearly, are there sides drawn in the heavenly realm? You've got Michael and his angels that are allied with the forces of good on God's side, and then you have the dragon and his what? Angels. So the trafficking of this plan did it succeed in causing a third of the heavenly host to rebel against God. Verse 8. And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and who? Satan. Notice, and his angels, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out what? Now listen, folks, there's a lot of debate right now about what demons are in the Bible. Come with me to Matthew chapter 12. I'm going to tell you right now that I think the only acceptable definition for demonic spirits in the Bible is fallen angels. Matthew chapter 12, verse 24. This is a controversy here. Jesus heals someone, and the Pharisees accuse him of blasphemy. Verse 24. But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, This fellow doth not cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, the prince of who? So Beelzebub is another name for who? Satan. Verse 25, And Jesus knew their thoughts and said unto them, notice, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Verse 26, And if Satan cast out Satan, notice, he is divided against himself, how shall then his kingdom what? Stand. You remember Job chapter 41, verse 34, that he is king over all the children of what? Pride. Does Satan have a kingdom? Does he have people who have identified their allegiance and their authority to him? Verse 27. And if I by Beelzebub cast out devils, how then do your children cast them out? Therefore they shall be your judges. But if I cast out devils by the Spirit of God, then the kingdom of God is what? Come unto you. He has a third of the angelic realm that has actively allied themselves with him in that rebellion. Now, I believe that there are essentially three groups of fallen angels. Okay? You know, some people are going to tell you that there may only be two. At this time, right now, I think there's three different groups. If you believe there's two or there's three, there's really not that big of a difference between them, and I'll tell you why. The first group is the fallen angels that are free and active. They are unrestrained, they are uninhibited, they are free to come and go in their realm as they please, as they wish, and as they choose. Okay? There's a second group that is confined to hell. Come with me to Jude 6. Jude is the small little book right before you get to the book of Revelation. You've got some that are free and active. Then you have another group that has been confined to hell. Jude, look at verse 6. And the angels, which kept not their first estate, but left, notice, their own what? Habitation. He hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of that great day. Now, I want you to notice something here in the Go back to verse... no, that's not the right one. So, my point is that there are angels that left their own habitation, and they are currently reserved under chains they are currently chained and bound in hell, waiting a day of what? Judgment. Come with me to 2 Peter. Second Peter. Chapter 2. 2 Peter chapter 2, let's start at verse 4. Notice, For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto what? Now what did we read in Jude 6? Who are those angels that are in that condition? Those are angels that did what? Left their own habitation, that left their first estate, and they have been punished as a result. Now look at verse 5. And spared not the old world, but saved who? Noah, the eighth person. So he puts in the context of verse 4, where he's talking about these angels that are chained under darkness and under judgment, he puts in the very next verse that into a context of the days of Noah. Now, come with me to Genesis chapter 6.